so that we could welcome our friends from Magdalene Serenity House. And I was just giving Dan a couple minutes to get set up online. I'm going to quickly pass the mic for Liz to make introductions and then to get started with the program. But I just wanted to mention how St. Paul's has been so supportive and instrumental in helping get Magdalene Serenity House. How many of you were involved in the very beginning? Were any of you? Yes. So some folks from the first little seeds of thought when it was started from our springing forward from our ministry at the women's prison when it was across the street, and so a beautiful way when the church responds to the needs of the community, and then once something gets started, when it plants and grows roots and continues to grow and flourish, that is what God's grace and mercy and the Holy Spirit does in our community. So we are grateful today to welcome our friends from Magdalene Serenity House, and I'm going to pass it over to Liz to make introductions and to welcome you all.
Thank you. Hello? Okay. This is not bad at all. I was expecting hundreds of people, so I like this. I'm Liz Sims, and I've been working at Magdalene Serenity House since we opened. I wrote the foreword in this book, and so I'm going to read this, and it'll kind of give a little preference of sort of what to expect and kind of how the book came along and the inspiration. And then I'll hand it over to Marcia and then Lisa. They're going to go back and forth and read a few of their poems. And then at the end, Suzanne Rhodes, who was really the skeleton of this whole project. She is Arkansas Poet Laureate, and so she will finish up and answer questions and give a few words. I also want to mention Patsy Watkins. She designed this book and helped put it together as well. She played a big part in it. Suzanne, which I'll explain more in the foreword, but she had taught some poetry classes at Magdalene House for the women. And so she came to me with this idea, and it moved very quickly. And anyway, very honored to have not just a poet, but the Arkansas Poet Laureate to be behind this whole project. So I'll start by reading the foreword. Through the years, MSH has had numerous program volunteers who've devoted time and compassion to the women residents in the most healing means. As someone who has witnessed the program evolve since we welcomed our very first resident, I have been inspired to see the women learn new skills, complete a quilt, open their hearts, and feel self-worth, all because our community believes in the power of healing and the mission of Magdalene Serenity House. Two components of the program I want to highlight are the poetry classes taught by Arkansas Poet Laureate Suzanne Rhodes and the quilting program started by Joan Bayette. Suzanne spent the last year not only teaching the women how to write poetry, but also teaching them to have a voice. Many women who come to Magdalene Serenity House come from oppression where their voice is not heard. Poetry is an outlet for the residents to express themselves, and rather than believing they can't, their poems show them they can. Joan Bayette began the quilting program at Magdalene Serenity House. Unsure how the women would respond to the craft, the program took off and has been a long-standing offering since MSH opened in 2017. One of the many observations I've had during the last 7 years is the parallel between recovery and creating a quilt. There are many obstacles to overcome as a woman rebuilds her life post-incarceration. Many are hopeful that a new life of sobriety will come with ease. The reality is that life is full of setbacks and also milestones. It can be mundane, but also full of excitement. Quilting is no different. It is full of uncertainty, which color and patterns to choose. It can be boring and tedious, ironing, at least to me. But through hard work and dedication, the squares grow and become beautifully crafted quilts, all while the makers are healing and learning to love themselves again. The poetry in this book is truly impressive. It gives only a glimpse into the lives of where these women have been, but a much bigger portrayal of the capabilities and worth, self-worth. Okay, I'm going to hand it off to Marsha.
Good morning. I'm Marsha. I'm a 2024 graduate of Magdalene Serenity House. And Suzanne came and taught us how to write a little bit of poetry. I've never done this before, but it was interesting learning. So the first one I'm going to read is Green. Green is peaceful, it is comfort. Beautiful is the grass, leaves falling all around. Green is nature, the lakes that we swim in, the vegetables that we eat, the houses that we live in with the money we make. Green is also envious, sickness, and evil. Us. We are two souls entwined from the start. In our mother's womb we danced as one. Side by side we journey through time, our laughter echoed filling the room. We grew in harmony like the rising sun. As we stepped into the world outside, our paths divided. One sought adventure and the other sought peace. Supported each other like no other, with a shared history only we understood. Twinship is a gift beyond measure. We may be different in mind, but our essence remains forever tied. Together we face life's twists and turns, always yearning for our special bond, a bond forged in love. We find strength and grace in each other, forever entwined in this twinship embrace. Now, Lisa's going to read you a couple verses.
I'm going to read Happy Memories. Sleigh riding with my mom on a snowy, cold winter day. We started on top of Panorama Drive, and with a big push, we were on our way. Down the hill we went, plowing through the white snow, leaving an imprint as we go. We were just trying to hold on, laughing the whole time. The sound of the wind blowing past our ears. We finished with hot chocolate as we warmed up our toes. Now I'm going to read Red. Red. Fire burns so hot, the sun is bright. Stop signs make us halt. Hair is so shiny. Color in a rainbow. Fire engines zoom down the road. Roses are a symbol of love. Hearts that beat like a drum. Shoes make a fashion statement. Lipstick colors our lips. Cars so bright, shiny, and fast. Santa wears these pants. Walls bright with color. Zits embarrass our surface. Blood runs through our bodies. Paint brightens our lives.
Now I'm going to read What I Love About Fall. In the embrace of fall, I am captivated by a symphony of colors and scents that dance through the crisp air. The vibrant leaves paint the treetops in hues of crimson, gold, and amber, rustling like whispers in the wind as they cascade to the ground. The sun casts a warm golden glow, gently kissing my cheeks while a cool breeze rustles my hair, carrying with it the promise of cozy evenings by the fire. Fall, with its bountiful harvest and nature's farewell performance, wraps me in a sensory tapestry of beauty and nostalgia, filling my heart with joy and gratitude from the changing seasons. Now I'm going to read Where I'm From, and this is my favorite one. I am from vast golden plains that stretch to the horizon, where endless skies meet amber fields in a seamless union. From sunflower blooms nodding under the blazing sun's gaze, and whispers of prairie winds carrying tales of yesteryears through the maze. I am from tornado sirens wailing their urgent warning cries, from huddling in storm cellars as dark clouds danced across the skies. From the rhythm of thunder rolling like a distant drum, and rain-soaked earth drinking deeply till the storm was finally done. I am from the heartland where values run deep and true, from hard work, resilience, and a spirit that always grew. From the heartbeat of Kansas, steady and strong, a place I will always call home, where I truly belong. Where I'm from. I am from vast golden plains that stretch to the horizon, where endless skies meet.
She doesn't have it memorized. She has to
I have to read it. I am from vast golden plains that stretch to the horizon, where endless skies meet amber fields in a seamless union. From sunflower blooms nodding under the blazing sun's gaze, and whispers of prairie winds carrying tales of yesteryears through the maze. I am from tornado sirens, wailing their urgent warning cries, from huddling in storm cellars as dark clouds danced across the skies. From the rhythm of thunder rolling like a distant drum, and rain-soaked earth drinking deeply till the storm was finally done. I am from the heartland, where values run deep and true, from hard work, resilience, and a spirit that always grew. From the heartbeat of Kansas, steady and strong, a place I'll always call home, where I truly belong.
The name of this poem is Squid. Hey, squid, can you see me with your big eyes? Your appendages in fluid motion behind you is to admire nature's poetry of movement. The lightning quick speed in the deep darkness, they are like dancers, complex signals, light flashing, beams of various color. Patterns to blind, mystify, and entrance their audience. Superb eyesight, a complex brain, a supercomputer, nervous system with fiber optic like axons. What I love about summer. In the heat of summer, the sun beats down on my skin, warming me to my core. The scent of sunscreen and freshly cut grass fills the air. The tangy aroma of barbecue smoke drifts through the neighborhood. The taste of sweet, juicy watermelon, cold and refreshing on a hot day. The sound of laughter and water from a pool echo in the distance. The crackle of bonfires under a starlit sky, where every moment feels like a vacation.
Great job, ladies. Wonderful poetry. And you think about the power of sounds, of language, like crackles, the crackle of bonfires under a starlit sky, or we've got dirt roads and creeks. That was the wrong one. We've got sunflower blooms nodding under the blazing sun's gaze. This is rich. This is taking the observations from nature, from their kitchen, from eating watermelon, from memory, from relationships, and making the ordinary things extraordinary through the power of language. And I was just thrilled to find so much creativity and spirit inside these women. It was one of the best things I ever did in my life, was to be able to go, and we walked downstairs into a room that had, we brought writing tablets and poetry prompts. One of them was a tray I brought with different objects on it, like a beautiful shell or a string of pearls, or one was a little wind-up toy, a little bird in a cage that would sing if you wound it up. And so they would select the object that spoke to them. And some really good poems came out of that. And so over time, I realized these poems need to be read in the community. And these women, as Liz suggested, that their voices are being heard in just a beautiful way. And they were able to reach deep down into their innermost selves to bring out these feelings, these impressions, memories and dreams. So you have an opportunity to be able to get this book. It's $20, and of course all the benefit goes to the Magdalene Serenity House. So be sure and get yourself a copy and get one for a friend, because it really matters, and then you'll get to enjoy the poetry as well. How many of you write poetry already? Oh, do you? Oh, good. Yeah. So, and how many of you like to read poetry? Okay, that's good. Now, how many of you have questions? Anything you want to ask either Marcia, Lisa, Liz, or myself? We'd be glad to entertain questions you have about writing process, or sources of inspiration, or the continuation of writing. That's a question I have. If you all have the intention of keeping a journal and continuing the craft of poetry. Any thought about that? Maybe, kinda?
We haven't really thought about it, actually. I haven't even got to finish my quilt from the house, so I am in slow-mo.
Maybe in the future. Yes, hold on. Here's a question.
Please help me understand, who are the women who live at Serenity House?
So the women, so we serve women who are in recovery of alcohol, drugs, addiction, and most of them come from prison. It's one of the criteria that they have to meet to be eligible for the program is incarceration. So we can hold 8 women in our program. It goes beyond that. That's just who lives at the home. But we still serve our graduates. We still do outreach for people who call and they might not quite fit our criteria, but they need some resources, they need a little help. We'll do our best to kind of connect them with what we can. Does that answer your question? Okay. Mm-hmm.
What type of support is needed for, especially like graduates or in-house, or what, certainly funding, but I'm thinking more like community support is helpful.
Sort of the aftercare.
I'm going to answer one part, and then I also would like their input because they went through the program. So we have been pretty fortunate to sustain on just local donors, a few local grants. So we've not had to reach state or federal funding or anything like that yet, that's pretty impressive. I mean, to me. So of course, financial gifts are always needed. But as far as volunteers, transportation is a big part of the need. Our program, whenever they come to us, of course, they don't have a vehicle, don't have a driver's license. And so we help them get to and from work. We help them get, there's a lot of doctor's appointments, meetings, things like that. And your friend Christine next to you there, she could tell you more. But yeah, it's all pretty local. And to me, it's a very flexible volunteer opportunity because there's no no major commitment. I mean, if you can help that week, you can, and if you can't, then that's okay too. So transportation, drivers is always a need, and then just kind of they ebb and flow the needs. I would recommend if you're on social media, following us or subscribing to our newsletter because we will put things out. Sometimes our Amazon wish list. If we need help. So, for example, we have an aftercare house that's going to be opening this month, and so we don't exactly know what we need. Sometimes things just pop up, but I know that we will certainly need help setting the house up and who knows what else. but different things like that, I like to call those like one-time volunteer opportunities, so it's not a consistent thing like transportation. And so what about you ladies? What are y'all, do you guys have any input on, as somebody who was in the program, what do you feel like you need or you benefited from?
In the program, we got most of the support we needed, but when we graduated and we needed to move out, we struggled finding housing. We actually had to find somebody that knew somebody because we're felons and nobody would rent to us, or we couldn't afford it, but really they wouldn't rent to us. That's an issue. And then also, you're starting from scratch, like with nothing but your clothing. Everything I owned fit in my car. So that was difficult too. So with the graduates, helping with furniture, dishes, that would be a huge help in this situation. We did save a lot of money. They encourage us to save money while we're there, but it costs a lot to start from scratch when you don't have anything. So that would be a huge help. Furniture, just everything. You need everything because you don't have any of it. But that was the biggest issue we had. And we're still working on it. We got an apartment together. The aftercare house wasn't finished. And we got, so it's worked out well for us. And it's still like a work in progress, But it's been fun. Starting our new life. Yeah.
I'm going to explain a bit more about the aftercare house. So that has been a long work in progress, but we are finally there. And so the idea for the aftercare house, it's to be able to bridge that gap between safe and affordable housing, because that does not exist. And so it's just kind of an extension of the program where the women it'll hold 4 women. So there's 4 bedrooms. Right now, while they are in the house, they share a bedroom. But it's just kind of the next stepping stone as well to like independence, and they will pay under market value rent, and they'll kind of be within arm's reach. So if they need a little more support, if they're struggling with whatever the case might be, we're literally in their backyard, and so they can come back for that extra support. And just really be able to apply the things that they've learned in the home to that next real life step. I think the big one is going to be financial literacy, because at Magdalene House, they do not. It's a free program. They don't have to pay for rent or utilities or anything like that. And so while we do have a financial literacy course, and we do budget managing and things like that. That's theory. It's completely different whenever you move out and you're on your own. So that's kind of the idea and the hope behind the aftercare house. Is just that next stepping stone to independence, and again, just kind of bridging that gap between safe and affordable housing. In that home, it will be the common areas are going to be furnished, and we're going to have. As of now, we're going to have 2 of the bedrooms that are furnished. Sometimes it gives people an opportunity, if they want to purchase their own bedroom suite, or if they want a king-size bed instead of a full, then, they can have that. But yes, as Lisa was saying, that piece of aftercare, it is difficult to, we need connections, people who are willing to rent to people who have eviction histories and felonies and things like that. And then moving is a struggle. I mean, of course, they could always, pay a moving company. I kind of think the hard thing is that we don't have the room at Magdalene House to store a bunch of furniture. And so there's like the sweet spot. Like they literally have, I don't know, a couple of weeks to furnish their home because there's really nowhere to. So anyway, I don't know, maybe a storage unit. Maybe that's a need that we should somehow secure. But any other questions? Do you want to come up? Okay.
I was just going to ask, I write poetry myself occasionally. First of all, you guys have really lovely poems. The imagery in them is super awesome, and I love to hear them. I was just kind of curious, because for myself, when I write poetry, it's sort of spur of the moment, and I write the whole thing down, and then I don't look at it for a few weeks. I was curious kind of what that writing process looks like for you, and how long it takes you to write a poem and things like that.
We were in a class with Suzanne, and she would give us like a topic, or kind of point us in a direction of what, different wording and things like that. So we did it usually in like an hour, but it was because it was a class. But she was really helpful. I don't know exactly. How did you?
Let me ask somebody about that.
She always had a purpose. So, every class we had, she would be like the items, pick an item that you can relate to, or pick a color, things like
Well, we call them poetry prompts, is often the language often used, and there was just a variety of things that they would do right on the spur of the moment. It was impressive, but I also shared poetry from wonderful poets, William Stafford and Mary Oliver, so that they could have examples of, and I would throw in some of my own poems. And so they would have examples of poetry to capture the beat and the use of language, and they caught on very quickly as to what makes poetry sing, what makes it have more impact, more depth than most prose, And so they achieved that just so well. So there was a real variety of subjects, from nature to just ordinary things to family. And you heard some of their representative poems. So, yeah, well, I'm glad you write poetry. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
I think I saw another hand. Did I?
I just was wondering, when you're at Magdalene House, the residents, do they share a community meal, or how do you handle meals? Do you have to buy your own groceries and plan together, or do you just do the residents individually do their own meals? Just curious.
Do you guys want to answer, or do you want me to? Okay.
For the most part, we buy our own food, but a lot of the times, like, few girls will get together and make a meal and feed everybody in the house. It's really a community thing, but we are responsible for our own food.
Anybody else?
Does Joan want to say anything? You're in this book. Do you have anything you want, any words? Okay.
Okay, I've been involved in this project for a number of years. And first heard about it through St. Paul's, of course. The first time when I joined the church, I met with Lowell Grisham, and he asked me where I might want to serve. I hadn't even thought about that. And so he started telling me about the different programs, and Magdalene was just getting organized, and they were still in the renovation stage and that kind of thing. And so he asked me, he said, we're doing this thing with Magdalene House and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, no. I had come out of 34 years of teaching seniors, and I just didn't think I wanted to work with people again. And so anyway, and one of the things that he said really has been true. He said, here at St. Paul's, most people give in some way that is specific to them. He said, try to find something that matters to you and take that into the community and serve in that way. And so I have no skills. I taught English for many years. I have no practical skills. And so I just kind of flopped around for about a year and attended a couple of the meetings with Magdalene. But there was a different person in charge then, and it wasn't a good fit. So I said, well, I'm not going to be doing that. And so, but then as time went on, honest to God, I never believed in a calling until this. It just kept preying on me. I just kept thinking, maybe I'll give this another try. And it was about a year later, I guess, that I went back. Liz was there. I met with Liz, and it was just the most perfect fit in the whole wide world. And it did not start I didn't start with the quilting. I just started with driving because I thought, well, I can drive. Not all that well, but I can drive, and I drive slowly. So if I have a wreck, it's not going to hurt anybody. And so I started the first year driving, but during that time, one of the residents and I got to be really good friends, and she wanted to learn how to quilt. And that's where the quilting program started, that I started just on my own in the dining room at Magdalene teaching Shannon how to quilt. And then one person after another would just drift by and find out what we were doing, and well, can we come in and sit and just watch? And of course, just women working together is the best thing, I think, in the whole world, because you just find out who people are. You enjoy talking to each other. You enjoy laughing. Serious conversations, irreverent conversations, and you really get to know each other. So that has just been the most precious thing in my life for a number of years now. Really recommend it. Figure out where you want to help, where you want to serve, whether it's with Magdalene or somewhere else. The driving, volunteering to drive, was just wonderful. And I've been thinking lately, can I do that too? I'm not sure that I can, but because that's often one-on-one, and that is the best thing in the world. When it's just one or two people and you really get to talk, It's like mini road trips, And so anyway, thank you.
If there are no more questions, we are going to end by Suzanne reading the poem, Today There Have Been Lovely Things. Okay.
I have to find it first. It's the first poem. So this is a collaborative poem, and I heard this poem called Today There Have Been Lovely Things, written by May Thielgard. Can't think of her last name offhand. May Thielgard Watts, who wrote this poem called Vision in 1925. And I just loved the poem. And it was, the first line was, Today there have been lovely things I never saw before. And I thought this would really be a great opportunity to have the women in the house contribute lines for the poem. So this gives you like a good window on their lives, I think, in a poetic way. So this is called Today There Have Been Lovely Things, and it's written by a whole bunch of the women there. Today there have been lovely things I never saw before. The golden light of melting cheese on my cornbread, the crisp, bubbly fizz of a freshly opened Red Bull, the glow of happiness on all of our faces while cooking together and jamming out to music, a bright red bird perched on the windowsill, a fluffy white cloud moving ever so slowly across the sky. I wake up to another day. The smell of coffee roasting, pearlescent white teeth where they weren't before. The captivating reflection of the storm gray clouds in the dewy rain droplets on oak leaves, purple tulips that bloomed after Mother cried, the air cool and crisp tonight, droplets that fall as I kneel in the grass, fire-red bird on the windowsill, the captivating ray of sun that broke through dark storm clouds, the lost purple in dark cherries, the sturdy porch swing I rely on, 6:15 a.m. peeking through the curtains, a delicious crunchy cream cheese bagel, the crrr sound of the Keurig coffee pot, rocking in the chair, hearing the early morning birds. Thank you all for everybody.
Yes, thank you again for having us. I just want to remind everybody there's a table back there where I placed the books. Oh, this gentleman here waving his hand in the blue collared shirt. If anybody is interested in one of these poetry books, I believe they are also in the bookstore here at St. Paul's, but for convenience, they're also on that table. All right, thank you all.